Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 special board meeting of the EBMUD Board of Directors. I, President Lisa McIntosh, am participating from a remote location.
And she froze.
Yes.
Director April Chan is absent and excused.
Roll call.
Reset.
Yes,
Oh,
I can hear
okay.
you. All right. Director Gomez,
Here.
Director Lenny,
Here.
Director Patterson,
Here.
Director Young,
Here.
President McIntosh,
Here.
Director Katz is en route.
If members of the public are online and wish to speak on agenda item number 1, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom. Madam Secretary, are there any public comments?
No public comments online or in the boardroom.
All right, wonderful. Then I will turn this over to General Manager Chan, who will introduce the item.
Good morning, President McIntosh and board members. As noted in the board document, the term of office for the Director of Ward 2 ends on November 5th, and the terms of office for the directors in Wards 1, 5, and 6 end on December 31st. Contra Costa County informed us that multiple candidates filed declarations of candidacy for Ward 1, and Alameda County informed us that multiple candidates filed declarations of candidacy for Wards 5 and 6. However, Director Luz Gomez was the only candidate that filed a declaration of candidacy for Ward 2. When only one candidate has filed, there's a very narrow window. This year, that window is between August 15th and August 21st, in which the board can exercise its AB 408 authority. Today's special meeting is being held for the board to exercise their authority for Ward 2.
All right. Clifford, is that it?
That's it for me.
All right. Then is there any discussion or do we have a motion?
I would like to say a few words, if that's possible.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, what?
Did President McIntosh have to read the announcement first? Or?
You just read it.
No, I didn't.
Well, no, you just basically stated what you was going to say. But President McIntosh, can you go ahead and read your notes?
Okay. So we are now on agenda item 1, which is to take action pursuant to Assembly Bill 408, codified as Municipal Utility District Act, Section 11852.5. Hang on, I'm reading from my cell phone. 0.5 to either, number 1, appoint the sole candidate running for election in Ward 2, Luz Gomez, or number 2, proceed with the election in Ward 2. Assembly Bill 408 or MUD Act Section 11852.5 allows the board to appoint a sole unopposed candidate or to proceed with an election. The district to receive confirmation from elections officials in Contra Costa County that Luz Gomez, appointed incumbent director in Ward 2, is the sole candidate to submit qualified nomination papers for the respective ward during the election nomination period. Accordingly, this action requests the board to either appoint Director Gomez for the remainder of the unexpired term in Ward 2, commencing December 10th, 2024 through December 31st, 2026, or to hold the election in Ward 2. Are there any comments from the board before we take action?
I would like to say a few words.
All right, please.
So good morning, everybody, fellow members and staff. It has been such an absolute pleasure to serve with you so far on this board and to have been appointed on April 9th. So when I was appointed on April 9th, I had a vague idea of what it would mean to serve immediately and then to pretty much right away mount a campaign to run for election in November. When the first news release went out, regarding the appointment, it read, Gomez will serve until the November general election, at which time Ward 2 voters will elect a permanent replacement for the term that ends on December 31st, 2026. So I took this to mean that I would definitely have a chance to be elected by the voters in November. I was excited that for the first time in 30 years, voters in Ward 2 would get to see my name on the ballot and know that they had a representative at EBMUD. As a newly appointed director, I was looking forward to having the legitimacy that comes from being elected. So I immediately started my campaign. I was requesting endorsements and contributions. I launched a website, began a concerted effort to meet with the leaders throughout Ward 2 and beyond, and I shared the news of my appointment and the fact that I would very much appreciate their support. So I explained that because I was appointed, I would need to get elected in November to be able to keep my seat. At some point, a few weeks later, I learned that the board could actually decide to appoint me instead, and if there was no challenger. I was told that holding the election could cost the district over $720,000. And up until this point, I was really looking forward to the opportunity to have voters vote for me. But I also thought those $720,000 seemed like a lot of money just for that to happen. And it seemed like a really high cost to justify having my name on the ballot. So in talking with lots of leaders and ratepayers about the issue, there were those who advised me to save the district those funds and to get appointed instead, while other people felt that absolutely my name should appear on the ballot regardless of whether or not I had an opponent. As you could see, I was very much conflicted at this point, but I was very much leaning on the side of, you know what, $720,000 just to have my name on the ballot, it didn't seem to make a lot of sense. Then last week, I learned that the actual cost for Ward 2 is under $200,000. And that seemed to change the equation quite a bit for me and for those who I reached out to and talked to. And at that point, I started to think about how this could actually be a wise investment for East Bay Mud. When we think about it, this seat has been held by the same individual for over 30 years. And Ward 2 has not had an opportunity to vote for someone else. And they do not know necessarily that there is someone representing them and someone new representing them on the East Bay Mud Board. So that said, I also think that after 3 decades of having the same representative, it seems like we're at a time when democracy itself seems fragile. And it feels important to hold this election and give people a choice, even if that choice would be to write in a candidate. And I feel that my service on the board would have more legitimacy if I came into office with the affirmation of the voters. So all that said, it would still be an honor to be appointed, but I just wanted to share where I landed after much internal debate and multiple conversations with local leaders and ratepayers. That I think I landed on the side that this time around, because I have been on this seat for a very short amount of time and for the first time in so long, that it actually does make sense for my name to appear on the ballot and to have an election. So, but I'm very much curious to hear what you all have to say about it.
I would like to move that we support the election to happen in Ward 2 for the reasons that Director Gomez has so clearly articulated. I think that this bill was intended primarily to allow incumbents who had stood for election to be appointed if they didn't have an incumbent. And we're in a different situation now. We have an appointed incumbent who's never stood for election. And I think that our democracy deserves for the voters to know and understand who's representing them and have an opportunity to make their choice, even if there's only one choice to make besides writing a name in on the ballot. So that's I move that we have the election.
Any other comments or motions?
I'm going to just state that I'm going to recuse myself on this vote for a potential conflict of interest.
All right.
I will second the motion for the purposes of discussion. And
All right.
I'll speak to it. I think it's the historically the costs that have been estimated by the secretary and general manager and presented to us have cumulatively been to the point where it would not be reasonable. And of course, all of those situations were in the cases of incumbents. So this is the first time that we've really considered such an appointment for a non-incumbent. While I think the reasons of the voters being able to draw that line across between your name and the other side of the ballot, and just knowing that there's a person and knowing what the name is there's a value for democracy. There certainly is. I actually think that the one of the greatest opportunities is the ability for voters to receive a candidate statement and to learn what you stand for, and to be able to learn about and appreciate the district and their role in electing a member of the board of directors for the district, and to know what you are going to do. That's where your legitimacy comes from as well. So I think that's important, and I also think that the law is very restrictive. The law does not allow your candidate statement to run unless you are on the ballot, and I wonder why. It's never going to make sense for EBMUD to sponsor that bill to make that tweak. But I do wonder, could we let the Special Districts Association and the League of Cities and the Association of Counties and the consultants for the legislative elections committees just know that we've noticed that when we make this appointment that can save the voters money, we are in this tension, and we might be able to solve that tension by just allowing the candidate statement for an unopposed candidate to be run, allowing it. And it would still be between the agency and the county registrar, whether it occurs and who pays, et cetera. But I do wonder if that would help us get out of this tension, and we'd be able to still make the appointments without feeling like we're sacrificing some connection between the voter and our board members in the process of democracy. So I do hope that is something that we could use minimal resources to communicate with colleague organizations and see what happens. But this is the choice we have right now. And so I do want to hear what Director Patterson and President McIntosh have to say. But I'm persuaded more by the motion, but I want to hear what my colleagues have to say before I vote.
Bill?
Yes. This thing working? Yes. I think given the circumstances that have been laid out, I kind of was persuaded. While I'm always interested in saving the taxpayers, ratepayers' money, it may in fact be a good thing to have my colleague's name on the ballot as an informative piece. So I'm inclined to support moving in that direction with the understanding that there be more voter education as it relates to candidacy and people who are going to represent them. That's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you. Well, I was ready to even make a motion this morning to appoint Director Gomez. I mean, this is sort of an unheard of situation that the unopposed appointee really wants their name on the ballot. And I'm willing this morning to change my thought process. And, 200,000 doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, and it is taxpayer money. And it's not for us to spend frivolously. But given Director Gomez's request and her thought process, I'll support the motion this morning. And the motion was made by Director Young and seconded by Director Katz, correct?
Correct.
Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, let's have a motion.
We have a roll call vote.
Okay, let's do it, Risha.
Okay. Director Gomez,
Aye.
unmuting mics. Director Katz,
Yes.
Director Lenny,
Abstain.
Director Patterson,
Yes.
Director Young,
Yes.
President McIntosh,
Yes,
and Director Chan is absent excused.
all right. We're done. Anything further?
That's it.
Then we're adjourned. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.